Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. We are all welcome to this screen once again. Inshallah, we look together at our last but one lesson. The next topic, Fi Mawlid Rasul al Habib, is going to be our last one. And at this point, inshallah, I have to congratulate all of you, congratulate all of us actually. It's been a long journey, but gradually we are almost seeing the end of it. May Allah aid us through, and may Allah grant us beneficial understanding. I hope that whatever we've learned through this journey too, we put it to practice. Yani, we practice the language that we've learned, the proficiency here, the vocabularies and expressions. Let's not let it go waste. Let's practice it. Okay. So it says the topic for today's session is fi sahri. Fi sahri, as-sahr is a time. Okay. It's a time that is the early dawn or the time before daybreak. The time that you wake up to eat your suhoor if you are going to fast. So at that time is what we call the as-sahr. So when he says في السحر يمكننا أن نقول أن الشاعر قال هذه القصيدة في هذا الوقت، يعني هو يتحدث عن هذا الوقت، أم قال هذه القصيدة وهو في هذا الوقت، يعني he wrote it was at this time, he was writing in this time, or he's just writing about that time. Okay, but the text would basically show us that he's in the time, yani he's at dawn, let's say around 4 a.m. Ghana time or 3:30 a.m. Ghana time. The poet is awake and is writing. Okay, so he says Rabbahu. Rabbahu is a way of calling. He's not saying his Lord. No, Rabbahu bimana Rabbi. Just like you say Ya Ukhtah, Ya Ukhtahu. The Ukhtah with the ha at the end is still Ukhti, but then the nida has a lot of ways. Okay, just like say Ibni, Bunayya, and it has a lot of stars. So each one of them has a way of that it comes. And this one gives us a sense of feelings. There is some feelings attached. Okay. He says, Rabbahu, bimana my Lord. Hazi jabhati. This hazi written like that is hazihi. Okay. Hazihi. Because the hazihi actually is the, just like we have the for the feminine. Okay. So when you see hazi like this, it's just the hazihi. So it says, Rabbahu, hazi jabhati. This is my forehead. Jabha is forehead. Oh my Lord, this is my forehead. Ta'nu li wajhika fi hudur. Ta'nu li. The verb is ana, ayn nun alif, li. Ana li. To surrender to or to yield to some power or authority. So when he says hadi jabhati ta'nu li wajhika. When we say wajhika with regards to Allah, we mean countenance. Bimana, your support, it's your divine presence. So, oh my Lord, this is my forehead surrendering to your divine presence. Fi hudur, I in your presence. Surrendering to your countenance in your presence. Ay hudur bimana itima. This meeting I'm having with you, oh my Lord, my forehead has surrendered to you. We can basically say he's in sujud. Okay, he's referring to sujud. And then he says, وَتَصُلُّ مِنْ أَيَّامِهَا هَذِي الدَّقَائِقَ في السحور. Okay, وَتَصُلُّ. تَصُلُّ بمعنى سلة. Okay, you've probably heard of مهند من سيوف الله المسلول. You've already heard of this word maslul. When we say a sword is maslul, bimana that sword is drawn out of its shield. Okay, it's drawn out of its shield. It's drawn out of that leather covering. So when a sword is drawn out like that, we call it sayfun maslulun. So salla tasullu, bimana to draw out, to take something out. So he's saying that tasullu, the fa'il here is referring back to the domir in here, which is the fa'il. Ay tasullu here min ayyamiha. The domir is referring back to the jabhati, my forehead. And the forehead of a person is a symbol to refer to the whole of the person. Okay. So here it says, وَتَصُلُّ مِنْ أَيَّامِهَا, my forehead draws out of its days. So you have a lot of days, you draw out of it. هذه الدقائق, these minutes. The plural of daqiqa. So I'm drawing out these minutes في السحور, in this time of sahur. Okay. It says فَلَعَلَّهَا تَحْظَى بِمَا أَكْنَنْتَ مِنْ سِرٍّ وَنُورٍ. Perhaps تَحْظَى بِمَا, تحظى from haziya, haziya. Okay, haziya bimana, to win something, to attain something, to gain something. So he's saying that I'm surrendering my forehead to your countenance, and I'm taking out of my days these few minutes in this time of sahur. Perhaps I would gain. What is he trying to gain? He says, tahza bima aknanta min sirrin wa nur, what you have concealed in secret and light. Aknanta is from the verb akenna. So somebody will say, ana ukinnu laka al-ihtiram, yani I have some respect within me for you. So akenna bimana, to conceal something, to hide something. So he's saying that I'm meeting you, oh my Lord, at this time of the dawn, surrendering to you, taking out these few minutes of my time to meet you. Perhaps I might be lucky to gain what you've hidden for me in secrecy and light. Yes, what tazuku. Tazuku, man tazuku, I jabha. Still referring to his forehead, which in essence is his whole person. Tazuku, from dhaka yazuku, to taste. Okay, to taste something. It says man dhaka arafa. Okay, man dhaka arafa. Whoever tastes is the one that knows the taste. If you haven't tasted something, you can't judge the taste. Okay, it says وَتَذُوقُ مَعْنًا قَدْ طَوَتْهُ سِجَافُ هَاتِيكَ السُّطُورِ. It says وَتَذُوقُ مَعْنًا, and it tastes a meaning. قَدْ طَوَتْهُ, tawa, to fold. قَدْ طَوَتْهُ سِجَافُ هَاتِيكَ السُّطُورِ. سِجَافُ is مضاف, هَاتِيكَ is مضاف إليه, and then as-sutur. Hatika is ismu ishara. Maybe you are not familiar with this form of ismu ishara. Let me take time to explain it a bit. You have the ha, which comes for tanbih. Harf tanbih, it comes for to give it volume. So like you say, the is the ismu ishara, but then the ha comes to emphasize, to give it some weight. So you say hadha. So the hadha, the dha, when you come to dhaka, okay, the feminine, you say tika. Recently we were doing some studies in this book, Mabadi al-Arabiya. I think it's an Iraqi book. We were doing some studies in there, and then we came across, we were doing Dama'ir, and all these lessons are there, particularly when you look. So you can refer to that book, the volume 3 of Mabadi al-Arabiya, under the topic Ad-Damir. No, under the topic Ismul Ishara. Okay, under the topic Ismul Ishara, you find it expanded. But then Dhaka, Tika. Okay, Tika bimana Tilka. Tika bimana Tilka. So when it says Ha Tika, ay bimana Sijafu Tilka Sutur. Okay, Sijafu Tilka Sutur. So it says وتذوق معنى قد طوته سجاف هاتيك السطور. Or you can say sijafu tilka sutur, sijafu hazihi sutur. All of it is okay. So my forehead, or I'm surrendering to you at this dawn. Perhaps I might gain something you've hidden for me in secrecy and in light, and also taste a meaning that has been hidden in the folds of these curtains. Tawathu, we left this word sijaf, the plural of as-sijfu or sijfun. Sijfun is a veil, covering. Or we say, you see, when you have curtains, one part is there, one part is there, and there is some parting in between them. You can just put your hand, open it, and pass through. So the one part of it is called sijfun, another part is called sijfun, okay, and then you have sijaf. So basically sijaf is their coverings. So he's saying that there are some meanings and there are some curtains or some veils that has covered these meanings. Tawathu, it has folded it up. So he is meeting his Lord at this time of the dawn. Perhaps he might taste the meaning that is hidden in the veils, the coverings of the suturs, the curtains. Jamil says, وَتَصُوغُ مِنْ حَالَاتِهَا مِنْ حَالَاتِهِ أي تَصُوغُ مِنْ حَالَاتِهِ من حالات. This he is referring to معنى أي تصوغ من حالات المعنى صوتا لأهواء تثور. Okay, so these are the meanings. Tasugu from saga, to form, okay, to form or to manufacture, to create. Siyaga, creating something. Tasugu min halatihi. Halat is the plural of halatun. And halatun is what we call the halo, H-A-L-O. That is a secondary meaning, not what is intended here. Hala is the ring around the moon. The ring around the moon. We call it halo, H-A-L-O. When you look at the moon and it's full, you find some light, bright circle around it. That is what is called the halo. It's called halatun. But here, halatun bimana circle. Okay, circle. Says tasugu min halatihi, and my forehead that I'm surrendering to you, which represents me, will form from the circles of this meaning. Sawtan, a cane, that is C-A-N-E, a cane for whipping somebody. So I'll form a meaning from the circle. I'll form a cane from the circles of this meaning. What is this cane for? Li ahwa in tathur. Ahwa is the plural of hawa. Hawa, which is low self-desires, satanic desires, devilish desires. Those desires, I'm going to meeting my Lord. I'll find some meanings. When we say meanings, there are some understandings you get when you meet your Lord, some refreshment you get. From the circles of this refreshment, I'm going to create a cane with which I will whip those low self-desires that arouses. Li'ahwa in tathur. Low self-desires that arouses. Or low self-desires that attack, revolts against me. Because tathur bimana thara. Thara bimana to arouse. Thara bimana to revolt. So those low self-desires that attacks me, I'm going to form a cane from what I'll get from meeting my Lord and then ship them. And then he said, فَلَقَدْ أَمَدَّ فُؤَادَهَا فَوْضَى بِأَحْنَاءِ الصُّدُورِ. فَلَقَدْ أَمَدَّ. لَقَدْ bimana emphasis. Says qad alone can come for emphasis, and it can also come for tashkik, doubt. So when I say qad zahaba bimana he is indeed gone. When I said qad yazhabu bimana he might go. It says laqad, when you use laqad is definitely emphasis. So when it says falaqad amadda fu'adaha, amadda bimana to kind of punish. Okay, amadda bimana to torment, to harass. It says falaqad amadda fuhadaha, the ha referring to the jabha, which is me, the one writing. It says falaqad amadda fuhadaha bimana my heart has been tormented by what? Fawda. Fawda means confusion, disorder. There are a lot of disorder in the heart. That is why he needs to form this cane. The cane here is a symbol, okay? He's going to form some adab to restrict his low self-desires. Then he says, فَلَقَدْ أَمَدَّ فُؤَادَهَا فَوْضَى بِأَحْنَاءِ الصُّدُورِ. B here is zarfiyya. أي inda أحناء الصُّدُورِ, and the size of the chest. The heart has been frustrated by confusions that are found around the chest. Confusions found around the chest, there are basically worldly matters that gets into you and affects your heart. And then it says, وَتَشَعَّبَتْ مِنْ حَوْلِهَا فِكَرٌ كَأَسْرَابِ الطُّيُورِ. تَشَعَّبَ بمعنى to scatter, okay, to disperse. It says, تَشَعَّبَتْ مِنْ حَوْلِهَا فِكَرٌ. فِكَرٌ is the plural of fikra, thoughts. THOUGHT, if I get the spelling right. Thoughts, بمعنى thinkings. تشعبت فكر من حولها. Around me, or around my heart, or around the chest, a lot of thoughts are dispersed around my chest. A lot of thoughts are circumambulating around my heart, my chest. And then he compares that with asrab tuyur, ke asrab tuyur. Asrab is the plural of sirbun. Sirbun is a jama'a, a group. Asrab tuyur bimana groups of birds. See, when birds are flying, the way you find them scattered, flying around the skies like that, is comparing, that is how thoughts are circulating and roaming around his chest and causing confusion in his chest. Asrab tuyur, as I'm saying, the singular is what? Sirbun. There is this beautiful qasida. There are some two abiyats in there that are very interesting, normally mostly recited for some grammatical purpose. He says, شكوت إلى سرب القطا إذ مررن بي فقلت ومثلي بالبكاء جدير أسرب القطا هل من معير جناحه. Says لعلي إلى من قد هويت أطير. Okay, so it says شكوت إلى سرب القطا. سرب القطا, القطا is a form of bird. Says I complained to the group of these birds إذ مررن بي, when they passed by me. So he was standing there and the group of birds were passing by him and he complained to them. Says فقلت, I said, ومثلي بالبكاء جدير. I said, whilst somebody like me indeed deserves to cry. So he was crying whilst saying what he said. What did he say? He called out to them, أسرب القطا, oh you group of birds, هل من معير جناحه, is there any of you is ready to lend me his feathers or wings? Says لعلي إلى من قد هويت أطير, perhaps I will travel or fly to the one that my soul desires. So sirb is the group, it says sirb al-qata, a group of that type of bird. So here he says asrab tuyur bimana groups of bird. The way the groups of bird will scatter in the sky, that is how thoughts are scattered around my chest. Then he says وَيَسُوقُهَا أَمَلٌ إِلَى, but then my forehead is being driven, saqa yasuku, is being driven by hope to najwaka, ay najwa Allah. He wants to, his hopes pushes him or drives him to have a secret discourse with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When he says najwa, bimana having a secret discourse or having a conversation, intimate conversation with somebody, that is najwa, nun jim waw and then alif al maksura. So his hopes drives him to have that discourse with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then that too, fi kanafis sahur, fi kanafis sahur, that also at the time of the dawn. Okay, at the time of the dawn. So you can say in the bosom of the dawn, that goes, but then fi kanafis sudur, I in the shadow of the early dawn. In the shadow of the early dawn, his hopes drives him to have a secret or an intimate discourse with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then he says, فَلَكَمْ هَدَاهَا بُؤْسُهَا فَتَصِيحُ لَيْلًا يَا غَفُورُ. Hada, ha, dal, and alif al-maksura, bimana to qasada, bimana how many a times that is misery, bu'usuha, is misery, kind of intends it. So is misery basically attacks it. فَتَصِيحُ لَيْلًا, and so it cries at dawn. He's talking about himself. He's using the ha here to refer to the forehead, but then he's talking about himself. So let's give the meaning as a first person. It says, how many a times that my misery attacks me or takes over me, then I shout. I asihu laylan, I shout. Ya Ghafur, the oft forgiving Lord. Cries out to the oft forgiving Lord. Says, وَلَكَمْ أَثَارَ سُجُونَهَا عَلَمٌ مُمِدٌّ لَا يَغُورُ. Athara, to arouse something, to stir something, to cause something to rise. And then sujun is a plural of shajanun, that is huznun, severe sadness, severe sorrow. Okay, huznun, severe sadness or severe sorrow. So that is sujun. And then alamun, of course, pain, P-A-I-N. Mumiddun, tormenting. This mumiddun here comes from, is the fa'il of this verb here. If we can find it quickly, we saw a verb amadda. Aywa, this verb amadda. The fa'il of this amadda is the mumiddun. So we said amadda is to torment, mumiddun is the tormentor. So alamun mumiddun, a tormenting pain. La yagur. Yagur is from the verb ghara. Ghara bimana to subside. To subside or to reduce. So he says that walakem, how many a times athara sujunaha alamun mumiddun, that some tormenting severe pain has aroused its sorrow. So many a times you'll be there, then you feel some pain, and that pain torments you, arouses your sorrow. That is what he's describing. And this pain or this sorrow does not subside, it doesn't go down. Walakem athara, you can arrange it this way. Walakem athara alamun mumiddun shujunaha la yagur. How many times that a tormenting pain has aroused its sorrow, and this sorrow does not go down, it doesn't subside. It says la sabru thawin fil fuadi wala al muqimu bihi saburu. Allah Akbar. It says neither does the patience die out fil fuad, in the heart. Still patient, regardless whatever is going through, the patience hasn't died out. The patience is still there. Thawin from thawa, tha waw alif al maksura. Thawa bimana to die out. La sabru thawin fil fuadi, the patience hasn't died out in the heart. Wala al muqimu bihi saburu, neither does the one that is harboring those pains, is going through those sadness, neither is the person severely patient. There is patience in the heart. It hasn't died out yet. But then the one that the pain is in him is not severely patient. So we can say that though he's patient, but he might break down. So he uses sabur, not sabirun. Sabur, severely patient. Wala al-muqimu bihi sabur. Ay la sabru thawin fil fuadi. Neither is the patience dying out in the heart, but then wala al-muqimu bihi saburu. But then the one that the pain is with him is not severely patient. Is neither severely patient. It says abadan hayati fi ana'in laysa yuhyiha as-sururu. Forever my life is in struggles, ana, struggles and stress. Laysa yuhyiha as-surur. Happiness does not revive it. Happiness does not give life to it. It doesn't rejuvenate it. So his life is forever in stress, troubles, and happiness doesn't solve that. So one will be sad, you think that let me take you out, have fun, you'll be okay, but then the pain isn't the one that will solve, unless he's meeting with his Lord fi as-sahur or fi as-sahar. It says قد برح العلم الممد بها. The barraha is a synonym of the amadda. The barraha is a synonym of the amadda. So you say barraha bi. Barraha bika alamun mumiddun. Yani a tormenting pain has affected you or is tormenting you. It says قد برح العلم الممد بها وَأَضْنَاهَا الْفُتُورُ. A tormenting pain is tormenting it, or a severe pain is tormenting it, is tormenting me, the one writing the poem. وَأَضْنَاهَا الْفُتُورُ. أضنى, يعني when you say أضناه الشيء أو أضناه العمل, بمعنى the work has overstressed him, the work has worn him out. So when you say أضناها الفطور, يعني he's been afflicted by alienation. He's not feeling intimacy to anything. He's not feeling the link to anything. Futur, bimana, you've been cut off. The sense of being cut off. Okay? So it says, قد برح الألم الممد بها وأضناها الفتور. Severe tormenting pain is tormenting it, the forehead, which is the writer. And then also أضناها الفتور. Alienation has worn it out. It's feeling alienated. It says, فَإِلَيْكَ أَشْكُو شِكْوَتِي. It is to you that I complain my misery. The word shikwati is a Quranic word. We have in the Quran, it says, قَالُوا رَبَّنَا غَلَبَتْ عَلَيْنَا شِكْوَتُنَا وَكُنَّا قَوْمًا ضَالِّينَ. Okay, so that is Surah Al-Mu'minun, verse number 106. Surah Al-Mu'minun, verse number 106. قَالُوا رَبَّنَا غَلَبَتْ عَلَيْنَا شِكْوَتُنَا شِكْوَتُنَا وَكُنَّا قَوْمًا ضَالِّينَ. So here it says, فَإِلَيْكَ أَشْكُو شِكْوَتِي. It is to you that I complain my misery. في حدأة الليل الوقور. Had'a is the same as hudu. Ha, dal, waw, hamza. Hudu'un. So it is to you that I complain my misery in the calmness of the venerable night. In the calmness of the venerable night. Of course, in the night of Ramadan. Or in a fasting night. If you look at it, that is how it looks like. So it's a venerable night. When you say something is wakur, or somebody is wakur, man who was waqar. The person has dignity. So in a dignified night, في حدأة الليل الوقور, أي في هدوء هذه الليل الوقور. This respectful night, or this venerable night, this dignified night. وإليك أرفع هامتي. هامة, ha alif mim ta marbuta. It means ra'as, ra hamza sin, head, head. It is to you that I raise my head. وَيَدَيَّ إِبَّانَ الْحُدُورِ. The hudur, the vowelization here has an issue. Pay attention to it. It says, it is to you that I raise my head. وَيَدَيَّ, and my two hands. إِبَّانَ الْحُدُورِ. I إِبَّانَ بِمَانَ خِلَال. I during al-hudur, during the meeting, during my meeting with you. It is to you I raise my head, and it is to you I raise my hands. إِبَّانَ بِمَانَ at the time of, during. Okay? أي حين, في حين. Jamil, أو خلال. Then he says, لِتَشُدَّ, I am raising my head to you. لِتَشُدَّ أَزْرِي يَا كَرِيم. لِتَشُدَّ أَزْرِي يَا كَرِيم. This expression is also in the Quran. I think it's not so far-fetched. Let's see if we can find it. About, that is Sayyidina Musa, right? Sayyidina Musa and his brother Aki, where he says in Surah Taha, verse number 30 to 31, he says, Haruna Akhi Ushdud bihi Azri. Harun, my brother, strengthen my back by him, or strengthen my back with him. When we say Azr, it's your back. It is used to represent your strength. Okay? It says, let us shoot the Azri, so that you strengthen my energy, you strengthen my back. Ya Kareem, or noble one, or Ya Kareem, or generous one, benevolent one. It's talking about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَتَمْهُ أَخْطَاءَ الشُّعُورِ. And then you wipe out the errors of emotions. أَخْطَاءَ الشُّعُورِ. Basically, you wipe out my sins. Jamil, this is by Abdurrahman As-Sanusi. As I said, this is our last but one poem. Inshallah, our next lesson, we finish with Alqirā-atur-Rāshida. May Allah guide us through, aid us through, and grant us beneficial knowledge and make our knowledge beneficial to the Ummah. as usual, before we close it, we will have to read the poem together, inshallah. He says, في السحر في السحر رباه هذه جبهتي تعنو لوجهك في حضور وتصل من أيامها هذه الدقائق في السحور فلعلها تحظى بما أكننت من سر ونور وتذوق معنى قد طوته سجاف هاتيك السطور وتصوغ من هالاته صوتا لأهواء تثور فلقد أمض فؤادها فوضى بأحناء الصدور وتشعبت من حولها فكر كأسراب الطيور ويسوقها أمل إلى نجواك في كنف السحور فلكم هداها بؤسها فتصيح ليلا يا غفور ولكم أثار شجونها ألم ممد لا يغور لا الصبر ثاو في الفؤاد ولا المقيم به صبور أبدا حياتي في أناء ليس يحييها السرور قد برح الألم الممد بها وأضناها الفتور فإليك أشكو شكوتي في هدأة الليل الوقور وإليك أرفع هامتي ويدي إبان الحضور لتشد أزري يا كريم وتمحو أخطاء الشعور. Abdurrahman Sanusi. Till we meet again, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and don't forget to share for friends and colleagues to also benefit from this lesson, and may Allah reward all of us. Don't forget to put your question in the comment section if you have any or any other concern. Till we meet again, have a very good Arabic time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.